What concepts or nuggets from the program do you feel like have stuck with you most?
Your surgeon removed part of your stomach, not your responsibility. Being in this program, I have learned things that I didn't know in all the 40 years before this. That definitely has made a difference. My biggest issue was FOMO, fear of missing out. If I pass that fast food place, this is my chance. It was just really interesting to me to come to that realization that's just food noise. I was being bullied by that food noise. I don't feel like I used to, where, oh my God, if I don't get that now, I'm never going to get it again. How many times Sunday night laying in bed and telling ourselves Monday morning, this is it. That would have then sent me into a spiral of, oh my God, now I got to starve myself for 3 days to get back to where I was. Diets, you limited yourself and you think, oh, I can't wait till I'm off this diet. I can't wait to eat one of those things again. It's not sustainable. Limiting yourself is just not a sustainable process. I can have anything I want. It's just the amount that I eat, but it's also the choice of I need to make sure that I get that protein in first, then I can have a spoonful of that, and I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like I need that motivation, that self-talk anymore. This is just where I am.
How do you feel about your relationship with food right now versus 6 months ago?
I definitely feel like that is where my energy and nutrition come from, not my satisfaction. I feel like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis now is sustainable. Is this what people that don't have a weight problem always felt like?
Remind me, how much weight exactly have you lost?
Is it 66 pounds or 67, 68? I'm in the high 60s.
What are you most proud of?
That I can cross my legs, that I can wrap a bath towel around me.
Isn't that a great feeling? What would you tell to someone who might be thinking about this type of investment?
The most important thing as far as the coaching program fee is only an issue in the absence of value. The value that I have gotten from this program is immeasurable. I'm 67 years old. It is never too late to put yourself first. It is never too late to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to go out on a limb because that's where the fruit is. You are important. You are worth to do this for yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Lawson, founder of the Bariatric Success Academy. And today I'm joined by Kathy, who's been working with me in the program for now, what 6 or 7 months now. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's had one of the most profound transformations that I've witnessed as a coach. And what really makes her story powerful is just you've been dealing with these challenges for such a long time. I remember during one of our first conversations since you were like 14 years old, right? And it's
Yeah.
not just about losing weight, but you've completely transformed your identity and relationship with food, but also you're a busy business leader.
Mhm.
You've proven that even with the craziest schedules, sustainable health is possible. So first off,
Yes.
thanks so much for being willing to share your journey. I know your story is really just going to inspire a lot of folks who are ready to stop the diet cycle and create lasting transformation too.
Yes. Mhm.
Awesome. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and maybe what your weight loss or relationship with food journey kind of has looked like throughout your whole life?
Well, I'm 67 years old. I had surgery last year at 66. But since the time I was 14, it was a yo-yo back and forth. I think I was a Weight Watcher at 14 years old, and just done a lot of different diets throughout the years, a lot of different programs, Weight Watchers, medical weight loss, and I have had success, on a number of them, but it's never been sustainable. And I think, 3 years ago, I was approved, and ready to do the surgery. And at that point in my life, it just wasn't the right timing. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to be that drastic. I don't need to go through that. I can do this on my own. And 3 years later, I'm in the same boat. So that's what prompted the surgery, as well as, my husband's health was declining. And I felt like I needed to stay strong and stay healthy, to make sure that I could help him if I needed. My 89-year-old mother lives with me and thought at some point, she might need some care. And so that was why I made that decision. And so had that surgery in October, and fortunately, had my husband passed away in December. So dealing with, trying to change my habits, and in this weight loss journey, um, and then dealing with grief on top of it, was a heavy load for a while. And this program absolutely helped me, understand the importance of putting me first, and knowing that it was something that I was going to have to um, take a take hold of and take responsibility for. And it's been a great journey.
Awesome. I appreciate all of that. And so, what was your life like maybe in the months before joining the program? Because you hadn't had your surgery yet either.
Right.
So, can you kind of describe like what did a day in the life look like? What were your eating habits like? All
Oh, I was not a prep person. So I was go by the seat of your pants kind of, food meals, a lot of fast food. I'm busy at work, and it was always a scenario where if it was quick to run through McDonald's, quick to run through Panera, or any other place, and I could eat in the car, get to my meetings, get my things done, come home, and I'd have a meal at 6 o'clock at night, and I was on the couch until, it was time to go to bed. There was no energy. Um, and all the things that I knew I should do, I'll go outside and go for a walk, go get on the treadmill, take a class, don't eat all those carbs. That was just, that was just what my life was.
right. Okay. And then what made you finally decide that you were at a point where enough was enough
You mean with the surgery?
with yeah, really just kind of with deciding to take hold of your life in general?
Well, I think the knowing that I probably at my age, I wanted to have another 20 years. And I did not. I still wanted to travel. I'm an active traveler. I still wanted to be able to work and continue to have my practice. And if I didn't feel good and if I wasn't healthy, I was no good to myself or the people around me. And that was really what jump started that decision.
Right. Gotcha. And so, how did you first discover me and what made you decide to reach out?
You were on Instagram. That's where I saw you. And it was just scrolling, just random. And I wasn't looking for anything at that point. But once I saw you and saw the program and saw the things that, you would post, it reminded me that throughout my working life, I've had coaches through my business. And it's always got me to, be that much more successful in my own practice. And so I knew then, okay, then this makes sense, Kathy. You need to hire a coach too. And although the program that I went through for my surgery, the sleeve surgery, was a great program, was very supportive. Once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, there was somebody I was having a video call or an office meeting with. But I knew that wasn't enough. I knew that I needed more. And then it was a point of searching out who's the right person. And I knew I wanted a woman. And I knew when I looked at your program compared to other programs, the education, the motivation, the support, the follow up, all the things that, you do on a day to day basis, even just with your Instagram posts. It was consistent. And that I think was the key that I was looking for, is the consistency of someone that I knew that I could relate to and that would stick with me.
Gotcha. You're correct. And I know something that you mentioned during our last coaching call was that you'll take screenshots of my posts sometimes.
I
I-
do.
I'm curious, what is it about? I mean, I guess now that you know me, right? Like,
Hmm.
know me very well.
Hmm.
What is it about my approach that feels different compared to maybe someone else that might be out there? Granted, you might not know exactly what's all out there, but
Yeah.
I'm curious in your perspective.
Jessica, you're real. But I don't, mean it in a flip way, but you are very relatable. And I just knew that um I could I could relate to you. I could relate to your experience. I could relate to what you're doing. Even though, there's a big age gap, I still felt like we were on the same path together.
Totally. I appreciate that. Uh, and what were your expectations when you first joined the program?
I think just the support, the ongoing support, whether it was, your group calls, our, one-on-one coaching calls, being able to use my app, um, everything that's part of it. Oh, the cookbook. Oh my God, you need to publish that thing.
Yeah, maybe one day. For sure. So now that you're kind of talking a little bit about like the program structure, can you
Yes.
kind of walk through the program structure and what it's been like for you? Because it's been a little bit different for you.
Yeah.
And like, what has been the most valuable part of the program for you too?
I think what I enjoy is the camaraderie with all the people that's in the group. You have women in this group, and maybe there's a man in there somewhere. I don't remember, but um, from from all over the world.
Mm.
And we are we're all in this together. We're all trying to make sure we get our vitamins in, make sure we get, some good workouts in, make sure we get our protein in. And we're all in the same position. And the support of that, um, the fact that you offer the opportunity for us to connect with each other is important.
Yeah. I think if anything, it shows that the problems you have are not an isolated experience,
Right. Hmm.
right? Like these problems are the all or nothing mentality, emotional eating, food noise. They're incredibly universal experience in the bariatric space. It's just that
Right.
on the internet, no one likes to talk about the bad thing or what's going wrong. Everyone likes to talk about how much weight they're losing, how quickly, and, the latest protein shake recipe,
Hmm.
or all of these things don't actually make or break in the long run, right? Versus the things that are tougher to talk about too.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even, food noise. I never even thought about the food noise before. I mean, my biggest issue was, FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, if I pass that fast food place, I'm never gonna, this is my chance to get in there and have a bite of that, or, you know, and it was just really interesting to me to come to that realization that that's just food noise. And I was being bullied by that food noise.
Yeah. I remember the first time you said that
Mhm.
analogy, and I never heard
Yeah.
anyone articulate it that way, but It was just very comical.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and so what concepts or nuggets from the program do you feel like have stuck with you most?
Oh my God, I love there are a couple of them that I love, and I have them written down. They're on my desk, they're in my office, they're, on my phone. Your surgeon removed part of your stomach, not your responsibility.
Mhm.
I think that is the most profound thing. Um, and knowledge without action is just entertainment. So the education that you provide that we can all go back to in our modules and listen to them over again and read them through and digest them again, um, that is very powerful to be able to have that to go back to.
Totally. And let's talk too about the FOMO, right?
Yeah.
So I think in our last coaching call or so, you mentioned the
Mhm.
FOMO around food
Yeah.
is pretty much gone. So
Yeah.
like, what does that feel like?
It feels pretty darn good. And it's because I don't have the worry that um if I have this, have a glass of wine, I have some cheese and crackers, I'll have, a couple of a couple of chips. I don't feel again like I used to where oh my God, if I don't get that now, I'm never gonna get it again. And now I can have anything I want. And it's interesting where, I'll go to a party or, had a whole big weekend thing at families with family this weekend. It's like, oh well, can you eat that? I don't know if you can have this, Kathy. It's like I can eat anything I want.
Mhm.
It's just, the amount that I eat, but it's also the choice of, you know, uh, I need to make sure that I get that protein in first, and then I can, have a spoonful of that or a spoonful of that, and I don't feel deprived. I feel like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis now is sustainable. It's like, is this what, you know, people that don't have a weight problem always felt like?
Mhm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, totally. And something you said recently to me that really stuck with me too, that I think I would love for you to kind of explain, because I think to anyone hearing this that isn't in the know with how we think about things would be like, what? So, what you said was that you've moved from needing motivation
Mhm.
to this now just being who you are.
Yeah.
Can you explain that shift and why you feel like you no longer need motivation the same way that you might have in the past?
Well, I think that so this weekend, for example, having more carbs than trainer eyes had listed for me,
Yes.
not enough protein.
Mhm.
So and that would have then sent me into a spiral of, oh my God, now I got to starve myself for 3 days to get back to where I was. Um, or, you know, what can I get to trigger that motivation to get me to get up the next morning and start, like it's a brand new day. Like how many times have we started, Sunday night laying in bed and telling ourselves that, okay, Monday morning, this is it. We're going to do it Monday morning. Well, I don't feel like I need that motivation, that self-talk anymore because I ate that. I did it. That's okay. Now, but that's not what my next day is like. And it's not because I had to, psych myself up to get back to where I was. It's just this is where I am.
Yep, totally. And
That makes sense. But
yeah, that totally makes sense. And tell me about putting yourself first. I think that's something that a lot of women, in
mhm.
particular moms, you know, people struggle with.
Yeah.
And I remember during one of our coaching calls, you mentioned like this weight loss journey this time was really one of the first times that you felt like you've made yourself important enough
Yeah.
in that. So what changed for you and how do you feel like you now put yourself first on a daily basis?
Well, I know that even in the beginning, like we had talked, in our very first phone calls, I mean, everything was about making sure that I was there for Phil to take care of my husband or to take care of my mother or to make sure I could still be there for my clients. And and I remember you telling me after Phil passed away, okay, so you need a new who's the new? Okay, well then it's my grandson. I want to be able to keep up with my
Yeah.
6-year-old grandson. And and you said, put his picture on your phone. So every time you open up your phone, you can look at him. And I thought, just many times as I've looked at my phone, I think, why isn't my picture there? Shouldn't I be the one? Shouldn't I be important enough? And that's kind of where that it's like I ran through the whole vocabulary from A to Z of everybody that I could take care of other than me.
Mhm. Yep.
And then it was, you know what? I need to and the reality is, for all, you know, the people out there, the reality is if you're not good with you and you're not taking care of you and you're not happy with you, you can't be happy with anybody else. It has to start with you.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like, oh yeah, it should be me that I'm looking at that picture on the phone, that I am worth it. And that's, really how it got to that point where I think so many things started to click for me.
Yeah. Tell me more about I want to talk about your month-long trip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was 5 weeks. I went to
Yeah.
Southeast Asia for 5 weeks. And this is, it was interesting. Before I went, I thought, okay, so what can I pack? Food wise, well, really can't pack anything food wise. And, the meals you have in this group, pretty much you're eating 3 times a day and you can have a glass of wine at least twice a day, as part of the whole, what you've paid for this trip. And I thought, okay, so now I'm perusing through these menus trying to find, the most protein forward in Vietnam. That's not easy. So most protein forward, meals. And the good thing is you're active, you're moving, which the was nice because um, the energy was there. And of all places, in a Cambodia grocery store, I found 30-gram
I
protein bars
remember.
that we sell here in the US. So I thought, oh my God, I think I bought 8 of them
Yeah.
just to make sure that I would have that protein bite when I needed it. But you can still travel. And that's, I think, what I learned on that trip is, and over 5 weeks now, um, I think, what did I say? I was 2 pounds up over 5 weeks. And within a week and a half, I'd lost 6 pounds after I was back.
Yeah. With
Um,
yeah.
yeah, coming back to getting back to the protein and the things that I needed. But it just assured me that um, I can do all those things and I can that there isn't any limitation. It is what I put in my mouth, and I can find the protein that I need, the nourishment that I need, to provide the energy, anywhere I go.
Mm. Uh, that's great. Yeah, because I think a
Yes.
lot of people think, you know, traveling is a huge barrier.
Right. That was me. That was absolutely me. And it's like I mean, it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna. I'll diet 2 weeks before I go. And lose 10 pounds 2 weeks before I go. And as soon as I get to where I'm going, it's all no holes barred, and I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat because it's there. Well, that doesn't change. I can still eat whatever I want to eat. I can still taste all those things and have all those things and enjoy all those things. It's just not at the level that I did before because my body doesn't need it.
Okay. That's a very interesting thing to say in regards of my body doesn't need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think something that a lot of folks that just kind of go through the basic bariatric program with their doctors really focus on is like, you know, how much protein I should be eating and all the numbers
Yeah.
versus listening to their body. Like, how do you feel about your relationship with food right now versus like maybe 6 or 7 months ago?
I definitely feel like that is where my energy and nutrition come from. Not my uh, satisfaction.
Mm, okay.
So yeah, I don't feel like it's that I need to have that from an emotional standpoint. That I don't feel good. I'm depressed. I'm lonely. I'm grieving. I'm whatever. Okay, let's grab that bag of chips. I don't feel that way anymore. And maybe I'll feel that way another time. Maybe that'll, you know, maybe this is temporary. But what I do know is even learning what I've learned so far about this, being in this program and going through this surgery, um, I have learned things that I didn't know in all the 40 years before this. And that definitely has made a difference. And I feel like that is the sustainable part of what my life can be like.
Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about your experience, you know, just being a badass businesswoman, right? Like you're super busy.
Yeah.
Mm. How do you maintain your habits with such a demanding schedule?
I love to cook, so that's a bonus. And I love the cookbooks I'm good at prep. And so those are things that are definitely, a bonus for me. Um, and I like all kinds of food. So there isn't anything to me that I limit myself to as far as, only being able to, just I'm only eating chicken or I'm only eating turkey or fish or whatever. Um, but I think my day to day, Uh, I will add, a protein shake or, a quick 30 grams sometimes on those busy days. But my mornings, I have my lunch prepped. I take at least 3 meals with me to go to the office just in case I'm stuck there
Yeah.
and I don't have any options. So I've always got three with me. And then I've got a drawer full of, you know, little beef jerkies or stupid stuff like that sometimes. But
Emergencies.
emergency things.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. And when it's easy in 20 minutes I can have, a piece of fish thawed and on the table and it's makes life easy.
Yeah. And so we also haven't even talked about like how much weight you've lost. I
No.
think we're like 20 minutes into this, right? So
Yeah.
that also kind of goes to show the weight's not the most important thing. Like,
No.
yes, obviously it's
Mm-mm.
important,
Mhm.
but like, what are you most proud of?
That I can cross my legs, that I can wrap a bath towel around me.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Oh my god.
I remember this time I did that. And it closes all the way. Oh,
Yes, and it closes all the way. Yeah. But I think, that and I thought about this earlier today too. I thought, how long it was my entire life. I'd come home, we'd have dinner, and I'd be on the couch the rest of the night. I would be lucky if I got up and did a load of laundry. And I come home now and I'm in the yard. I am, painting something in the house, or I'm organizing a closet, or that energy. And I am a non-caffeine drinker.
Yeah.
So it's not from caffeine.
Right.
And the energy is probably the most enjoyable part of what my life is like now.
Amazing. And how has this transformation affected your confidence in other areas of your life?
Well, it does highlight, me as an advisor to my clients. So I think when they see success, they feel success. And that's been a good part in my business. I am more connected in my business. Um, I have more time to devote to my business, more energy, and it's been uh, it's been great.
Awesome. And remind me, how much weight exactly have you lost since October?
Is it 66 pounds or 67, 68, somewhere in there? I'm in the high 60s.
Gotcha. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Um, what would you say to someone who might have never put themselves first, who might have never hired a coach before, who might be scared about spending money on themselves, right? 'Cause
Mhm.
it's not cheap.
Mhm.
So, what would you tell to someone else who might be thinking about this type of investment?
I think the most important thing as far as the coaching program goes is, and for you too, fee is only an issue in the absence of value.
Mm.
That is something that, as an advisor, I've talked to my clients about, my whole career. Fee is only an issue in the absence of value. And the value that I have gotten from this program is immeasurable. And and I hope that anybody that sees this, because everybody's journey is different, and I hope that they take the chance and try it, and they will certainly not be disappointed.
Awesome. And what do you feel like your biggest takeaway from the program has been?
Well, it has gotten me to learn that the lifestyle that I have brought myself to, that you have helped me get to, is a sustainable lifestyle.
That's huge. And you don't feel like you're on a diet, do you?
No, no, because I can have anything I want.
Yes, you can.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
And I deserve to have anything I want. I, you think about other diets and you think of how you limited yourself, and you think of, oh, I can't wait till I'm off this diet. I can't wait to eat one of those things again or have one of those. It's like that is just not that's not in the lifestyle. And it's not sustainable. That is um limiting yourself is just not a sustainable process.
Yep, totally. And is there anything else about your transformation that you want people to know?
Well, I said earlier, and now I'm 67 years old, and it is never too late. It is never too late to put yourself first. It is never too late to invest in yourself. And, you hear everybody say that, oh, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But it is true. It is true. That's why you hear people say it probably, but right. But take the chance, you know. Um, don't be afraid to go out on a limb because that's where the fruit is.
Mm.
And, that it you are important and you are worth taking a chance to do this for yourself.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's also, I think what I really love about your story too is for you at the end of this was kind of life or death, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you had a really strong why in
Yeah.
regards of, and I think that's where I see the best transformations or the most powerful and long lasting ones is when you do have a really strong why.
Mm.
Uh, and so first off, like Kathy, thank you so much for sharing your journey today. I think I've absolutely enjoyed having you as a client, and you've proven that like real transformation happens through identity change,
Absolutely.
not just another diet, set of
Hmm.
macros. And you're doing all this while, running a business too. So show that prioritizing yourself as possible, even with the most demanding schedule. So,
Yeah.
for those that are watching who are really tired of the all or nothing cycle and ready to make themselves a priority, like Kathy's story shows what's possible with the right support. So thanks so much for watching. And remember, like, you're worth it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.